hook, and beginnings. You ever feel like someone's been whispering at you from the future? Someone whose voice grows louder when you least expect it, dividing us, uniting us, rocking foundations we thought stable. That was the voice of Charlie Kirk. There's a moment in every life when all the maps get ripped up, where certainty vanishes and you either shrink back or you push forward with something fierce, almost reckless. Charlie Kirk had several of those moments. He created his stage, changed the rules, and then in a final act none saw coming, everything collapsed into violence. If you stay with me until the end, you'll witness the journey of a boy born in suburban Chicago, a high school rebel, a college dropout, a provocateur, a symbol, and finally, a figure whose death stirred a nation. Subscribe if you want more stories like this, and let's begin. In Arlington Heights, Illinois, October 14, 1993. A boy is born into a world of quiet privilege and quiet expectation. Parents inclined toward moderate Republican values. His father, an architect. His mother, a mental health counselor. Growing up in Prospect Heights, moments that seem ordinary. Scouting, school lunches, family dinners. Yet something inside him always asked why. Why things are said the way they are. Why people assume. Why those in power look one way and those outside look another.
Young Charlie had a curiosity about ideas, about fairness, about who gets to write history. Even in middle school, he's reading Milton Friedman. In high school, he volunteers for a senator with the same last name, Mark Kirk, though they are not related. He speaks up in class. He questions textbooks. He argues cafeteria prices. It's here the spark ignites. Surprising fact number 1. Charlie Kirk was an Eagle Scout. That rank isn't given just for badge collecting. It's leadership, responsibility, and it taught him early what it meant to rally others. By 2012, still in high school, he's already writing op-eds, pushing back on what he sees as bias. He writes for Breitbart, appears in Fox Business. This is not some teenager dabbling. This is someone seeing the entire chessboard, realizing to change the game, you have to play it. Turning point and rise. He drops out of college. A lot of people would see that as failure. But for Charlie, it's freedom. He co-founds Turning Point USA at age 18. No big network, no built-in fame, quote, no money, no connections, and no idea what I was doing, end quote, he said later. But more than anything, he had urgency. He wanted to give young conservatives a home, a voice. Turning Point USA begins with campus events, tables that say, prove me wrong, debates, confrontations, sensational headlines, social media clips. The noise starts small, but the ripple begins. It catches fire among those who felt invisible in progressive campus culture.
Surprising fact number 2, one of the early supports came from donors who were skeptical, but he convinced them by showing raw passion. He turned ideological energy into real fundraising. He builds wings, affiliates, watch lists, outreach, professor watch list, school board watch list, Turning Point Faith, Turning Point Action. He becomes a provocateur, yes, but also a media strategist, because the war now is cultural, symbolic, sticky in your feed and your scroll. Mini hook. Imagine a college freshman scrolling TikTok, sees a guy challenging what he was taught, doesn't know him, but feels seen. That's exactly what Charlie engineered. By mid-2010s, his voice isn't just on campus. It's on TV, on radio, in books. He writes, he speaks, he critiques. He's polarizing. He's admired. He's reviled. But he is everywhere. Conflict, controversy, stakes raised. Power only matters when it draws fire, and Charlie drew a lot of it. Critics accused him of stoking division, of being more about shouting than listening, of framing ideas so starkly that nobody could stay in between. Accusations of spreading misinformation, of oversimplifying, of pushing Christian nationalism, of making enemies. Behind every rally, every speech, there's a cost. Friendships, reputation, sometimes safety. The social media magnifying glass turned every misstep into a crisis. But Charlie leaned in. He believed debate should be uncomfortable, that someone should always say, "Prove me wrong." Surprising fact number 3, he originally was more secular and had criticized religious influence on government, but over time shifted toward advocating Christian nationalism. That shift changed both his base and his critics. Meanwhile, his family life. In 2021, he married Erica Franzvai, beauty queen, podcaster, a partner who shares politics, faith, purpose. They welcomed a daughter in August 2022, then a son in May 2024. Hot lights and political storms outside, peaceful moments inside, often kept private. Time with children, silent prayers, deep beliefs. Climax, final days in tragedy. As 2025 unfolds, Charlie is doing what he loves, touring, the American Comeback Tour, speaking to big crowds, pushing youth activism, mobilizing young conservatives, amplifying the causes he spent over a decade building. But on September 10th, 2025, what should have been another public speech becomes the moment that shocks everyone. He's at Utah Valley University. The event begins. He's speaking, people listening, cameras rolling, then a shot. Chaos, blood. A life ends on stage. The man who once said, "I want to be heard," is silenced in the most violent way possible. Surprising fact number 4. He was 31 years old. All that influence, all that energy, so much ahead. And yet, in that flash, a life ends. Details of the shooting spread fast. Shock, grief, rage, mourning, across social media. War of interpretations, calls for political violence, for debates on freedom and safety. His death becomes not just a sorrow, but a lightning rod. Legacy, reactions, future. What does someone leave behind when they are gone so abruptly? More than buildings or organizations. Ideas, movements. Thousands of young people who saw themselves in him. Movements he inspired or provoked. Conversations his voice forced. People mourned. Supporters said he always spoke what others thought but were afraid to say. Critics said his rhetoric sometimes crossed lines. But even critics admitted the force of his platform. Universities, campuses, halls, social media, all electric. Surprising fact number 5, Turning Point USA had expanded to thousands of campus chapters, making it one of the largest youth conservative networks in U.S. history. His books, podcasts, media appearances keep circulating. His wife and children remain. His base, deeply saddened, determined to carry forward what he stood for. Prove me wrong doesn't end because he does. Future visions. What might he have built? What debates might he have forced? What culture might he have shaped differently? We can imagine. We can argue. But more than imagining, his legacy now lives in every young voice that picks up his mantle. Reflections and motivation. This journey, from curious kid in the suburbs to national firebrand to tragic figure, has lessons. 1. Your voice matters, even if right now it feels small, even when people tell you to wait. Charlie's voice started by questioning textbooks. That kept growing. 2. Belief and conviction are powerful, but power draws challenge and sometimes danger. Courage isn't about never being afraid. It's about stepping into the fear. 3. Change doesn't come only through gentle action. Sometimes it comes through provocation, through being seen as inconvenient, through arguing when it's unpopular. 4. Legacy outlives the individual. Movements, ideas, they carry forward. Every life influences more lives after it. Charlie Kirk's story is not pretty in every moment. It's messy, it's loud, it's controversial. But it's human, and in that, there is meaning. If you've been listening, I want you to think, what is your spark? What voice inside you keeps tugging, keeps demanding to be heard? Don't wait for permission. Don't let doubt hide your fire. If Charlie's life taught us anything, it's that the next generation always inherits more than just what came before them. They inherit dreams, battles, hopes. You get to decide what you carry forward. If you learned something new today, if you felt moved, challenged, inspired, hit like, leave a comment, share what surprised you. Subscribe because there are more stories like this. Stories of people who changed the game, who forced conversation, who often lived in the tension. Thank you for coming on this journey. Stay curious, stay loud, stay kind, and never stop demanding, prove me wrong.